Hey guys, what is good? I hope you're all doing absolutely amazing and are trading safely in the markets. It's your boy VGOK and I'm back with another video again for you guys. Now this video is going to be like the 2 videos ago. It's a market outlook video. Kind of be expecting these sort of videos weekly. So yeah, it'll be another market outlook video. I'm going to be going through the news events of the following week and having a look at any pairs to see if there's any nice key zones, such as supply and demand zones, points of interest, any key imbalance areas as well. And also, like I said before, if you want early access to these sorts of calls along with live trading calls, then please do drop me a DM on my Instagram with the word mentorship, and I'll be able to get back to you and see what the best way is to help you out. But without all being said, let's jump straight into the market outlook. So yeah, just a quick look at the news for next week. So as we can see on the Monday, so tomorrow, there is a bank holiday for the dollar, the Canadian dollar and the JPY. So if you're trading on Monday, I think probably best to target the pound pairs. They're the only ones who are going to be seeing some proper movement and some proper volatility, I think. So stuff like Gbpjpy, USD, the pound movements, probably in London session you'll see more movement than anything else. And then looking ahead, forwards to the week, we've got the Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking at 7:35 p.m. It's going to be outside the main trading time, which we like to look at, but be wary of this if you're still in on any pound pairs. And then Wednesday, 7 a.m. pound GDP figures coming out. PPI for US dollar. This is normally a good news event to trade around. We've had a lot of good movements from that. But I think the main thing to look at for next week is going to be this FOMC meeting, as always. So yeah, this FOMC meeting is going to be the interest rates being released for the US dollar. So 7 p.m. on Wednesday, UK time, that's going to come out, and then Thursday 1:30 we've got some nice US dollar news as well, and Friday we've got some nice 1:30 p.m. US dollar news as well. So lots and lots of I don't know why it's showing news for a Saturday. I've never really seen that before. Yeah, that's something new. It might change on here anyway, but yeah, definitely Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are going to be the main days to look to target in terms of our trading. So yeah, it'll be a nice sort of amount of news events to look at for that day, for that week, sorry. Looking ahead to obviously our Forex pairs, and yeah, I'm still currently in this position for GBP USD from last week. We caught a really nice move for FOMC, we caught a really nice move off the NFP volatility. Price was approaching the supply zone, gave a really nice distribution, redistribution style of trade, and we entered the trade. It's currently floating at around 1 to 9 risk to reward, but yeah, looking to take final TPs in that 1 to 23 risk to reward area right in there. So yeah, looking to sort of get into that as our main TP. Floating at 1 to 9 already. Our first TP was around 1 to 6. So partials have been taken. It is a risk-free trade at the moment, so hopefully it goes on to fulfill its final TP in there. But yeah, in terms of future zones for the pound, obviously if you're looking to trade this, then I think this demand zone here has been invalidated now, and we're looking to get into this one as our next sort of movement up. Now obviously if it goes through this, then we do have a bit of imbalance in here. We've got a rally-based rally scenario in here as well on the hourly, so potentially it could even reach down into this region here, this demand zone, which I'm just drawing out now. So potentially down into there, but ideally the main one is going to be in here, which we're going to be looking for accumulation if it happens, and consequently that's why we've got our next TP in that region as well. And looking into Gbpjpy next. So looking into Gbpjpy, we did just have a mitigation of this supply region over here to push price further down. I think we're still just about trading within this demand zone here as well, so not ruling out a fact if we do get a break of structure to the upside over here, then we could potentially see some early buy scenarios, and we do have this liquidity still sitting within the supply zone up here as well. So there's a couple different scenarios for this. It could still continue to drop, filling in these imbalances. We've got some nice demand zones still that are not sort of filled in just yet. So yeah, we want to see obviously how price goes in those regions, if price can actually reach those regions. At the moment we are in a demand zone, and if we look at the lower time frames, we are potentially getting some sort of spring movement, but it's not confirmed until we break structure above this region over here. So it really doesn't matter how price is going to be opening tonight, you know, on market open. But yeah, in terms of that, you know, we've got some nice areas to sort of target in terms of this liquidity at the top over here. We've got imbalanced regions over here, you know, demand regions, all this sort of stuff sitting over here. So there's multiple areas for us to look into and target as well. There's not really much need to do the top down, seeing as the higher time frame zones haven't really changed too much, you know, since last week. You know, we can still use those same zones, the same analysis as last week. So yeah, moving on to EURUSD next, and from the daily, what we can see is price has definitely reached its way up into this region here. So this buy to sell region, as you can see, it created a new lower low down here. So this is a very high impact sort of area, and we can see from about 3 days ago, you know, 3 trading days ago I should say, so I believe this was on Tuesday or Wednesday, the price reached up into this area and started to show its bearishness again over here. So potentially bearish on EURUSD, seeing it come down into here. Now we do have a potential couple demand zones down in here which I want to have another look at, so we'll have a look at those now. Going down into the 4-hour time frame, you can see this demand zone here has now been invalidated as price has sort of traded through that, so we can disregard that. But now as we look on the 4-hour time frame, and let me take this off so we can see the chart a bit better, we can see the obvious sort of imbalanced regions over here. So as we can see in here, we've got a nice sell to buy area in there with the imbalance. So definitely want to see what happens when price reaches into this zone. If we get accumulation in this zone, then so be it. We'll look to play sort of higher, sort of we'll look to be playing those buy scenarios in there. As we go down to the hourly, we do have 1 or 2 more areas within here, which is what I'm interested in as well. But I'm just analyzing that right now, looking for a nice sort of point of interest to form. So right now we can see in here we've got this sell to buy candle in there, and we do have other candles, sort of mid-range candles in here as well, which is why I've got this alert just sitting around here, so we know when price gets into this area, it could be reacting into this little wick in here. So yeah, we're going to see how that works out. We do have liquidity still sitting over here, this institutional candle sitting over here as well as a point of interest, still unmitigated all the way up here. But something that looks a bit nicer to me is this. We've got equal highs, and just above we've got a nice base drop situation happening over here. So just want to have a look at that. This line here is the 30-minute imbalance fill. So maybe we can see price coming up into here, get a manipulation of these highs into the supply zone, and then potentially see it continue to move lower. So that could be another option as well for EURUSD. So I think on that note, let's actually have a look at our next pair, we should say index. We're going to look at the DXY next, just to see how the dollar is moving. And as we can see, you know, the dollar's moved bullish from this region over here. We can see this demand zone has given its sort of push of the price higher. So now we're potentially getting into these supply zones. So you can see this one has now been invalidated, and we're going to get rid of that. Potentially, I quite like this for the hourly sort of main next zone in here. You can see this nice buy to sell candle created this lower low, and then we had all of this coming down, and I think that's going to be roughly the next area to look at, I think, in terms of the sell zone. So that's why I've got this alert set here. We definitely want to see if price can redistribute in this region and then drop. That would be nice to see. Otherwise we're going to be looking into these demand zones, and if we can get reactions in the demand zones to push price higher, then we should be good as well. But yeah, at the moment, you know, we're still looking into this. This is where that monthly this is the monthly POI at the top here for DXY, which we had, you know, based off this last buy to sell region. We had that wick coming down, so maybe price wants to just go slightly higher into that monthly region, fill in maybe some of this imbalance that's left over here, and then maybe see a continuation downwards for price on DXY. So that's going to be my bias for DXY. There is a bit of liquidity still sitting here in this trend line here, so maybe it comes back down into take this liquidity out and potentially, you know, get into a demand zone again. So if we extend this trend line out, we can see where the sort of trajectory would be, and I think this demand zone would line up nicely in terms of this little sell to buy region in here. So So let's see if we can get price coming into here, you know, going below this liquidity, getting into the demand, and then continuing higher for the dollar. So it'd be worth putting an alert. Just probably at these lows would be wise, right in here. Okay, so that's DXY done, and next pair we're going to be looking at is US dollar JPY. Now, of course, looking back at the news, there is a JPY bank holiday on Monday, so maybe not any early moves, maybe not until Tuesday we're going to see anything major, especially having a US dollar bank holiday as well. UJ may not be the best one to trade on Monday. As you can see, a lot of consolidation in the past sort of in the recent price action, I should say. But as we can see, price is slowly approaching this imbalance fill up here, right here. So we want to see if what price does as it reaches that. Are we going to start to distribute in this region? You know, the consolidation up here, maybe we see, and it starts to distribute, and then we can sell US dollar JPY down again. So that's going to be the main thing in terms of the selling areas I see. And as we go into the lower time frames, I believe it's a bit harder to analyze on here, but with all this volatility and stuff, the next demand zone, like the next obvious demand zone, would be in here, I would say. As we can see, we've got liquidity just sitting below these 2 wicks, so maybe a liquidity capture into there and then off it goes. But failing that, you know, we may see a reaction from where it is now, but of course it depends where price opens, how price opens on market open as well. So we're going to see how that works out for US dollar JPY. And yeah, we're going to have a look at EURJPY next as well. So moving on to EJ. And EJ, we can see price has successfully reacted into this area here. I believe it was an 8-hour demand zone which we identified last week. So we've got a nice rally, this doji candle in black here acting as the base, and then the consequent rally upwards, taking out previous supply in this region. So that rally based rally in that region there, and we're going to see how price can actually you know, how price has actually gone up from there. It's created liquidity on the top end, so definitely I think long term looking bullish on EJ makes sense. And I think the main other thing to look at is going to be having a potential look at sells in this region as well. I think the main zones I've got sort of drawn out so far, they're pretty good for now. You know, those ones are the ones that are invalidated, so just getting rid of those, cleaning the chart up a bit. I think so far so good. This one here was a mitigation, that was a mitigation, so this seems like the next logical place for price to travel higher. Failing that, there is this demand down in here which we can potentially see price getting into. So as we sort of mark on the demand zone for this region in here, I think this will be good. And I'm going to extend it up to here just because there could be a rally based rally within these wicks that took out this previous supply over here. So just keeping that zone there, we could see price, you know, continue down to here, and then we start to see the accumulation to go higher. So that's what we're seeing for EJ right there. Not much else to look at, of course, with the JPY bank holiday. You know, just keep an eye, you know, on maybe Tuesday's price action, see if it does move on Monday. I doubt it will if there's a bank holiday. But yeah, that looks pretty good. And we'll end this call off by looking at the indices. So let's have a quick look at NASDAQ. Now, immediately from what I can see just now is we had this sell to buy scenario on NASDAQ. Liquidity formed with these equal lows at this black line, and as we can see here, we had that sell to buy sort of movement from last week. I think last week it was just at the liquidity, and then we saw sell to buy manipulation over the NFP week, and now we've got actually back into this bottom demand zone, this bottom sell to buy candle on the 8-hour time frame here. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of price action we can get from here. As we can see, it's just reacted into that zone here and bounced up with a wick. So just going to clean this chart up a bit just so we can have a clear look at this. And as we go down into the lower time frames, we can see exactly how it's reacted into a nice rejection wick into the zone and then sort of rejecting away. And we do have slight imbalance just below still in here, so maybe it wants to consolidate. We get the manipulation into the imbalance and then off it goes. If we get confirmation of that, then, you know, all happy days, and we can look to play those accumulation buy style trades. But for now, I think I'm just going to set an alert just at the low of what is made, so we know if it goes for any lower and potentially into this imbalance region over here. So definitely want to have a look into NASDAQ for that. In terms of the sell side, you know, if this is a big redistribution style of movement, then ideally we're going to be having to look within this base drop region here, I believe. So looking into this region over here, so as you can see, these three little doji candles acting as the base. We've got the drop, base, drop that takes out this previous demand. Obviously this went to create that little higher high in there, so it's definitely a decent looking supply zone within there. So definitely want to see how price reacts into there. Going to set an alert there as well for Nasdaq, so let's see if price can get into there. If we see distribution in this zone, we'll sell. Of course, where it is now is in the accumulation, so we want to see accumulation in here potentially, and then we'll buy. Simple as that. And I'm thinking the other pairs should be pretty similar. As we can see on SPX, we had this sell to buy manipulation looking style of price action, and it's getting into that same looking demand zone as we saw in Nasdaq. The only difference with this is I think I do have a nicer looking demand zone just below. I believe it's on the weekly time frame. Yeah, so on SPX, the weekly time frame, we've got this sell to buy scenario on the weekly, so potentially SPX to jump a bit lower, so maybe Nasdaq may look to, you know, react a bit lower as well in its movement, and then look to go higher. But yeah, definitely let's see what happens in this demand zone, and if not, if it's ready for that early reaction, within here to go higher, then we will do so. We'll look to play those trades for SPX. And again, looking at US30, I believe US30 looks the best out of the three in terms of reactions. So daily time frame, we've got a nice rally-based rally in this region here. Rally, this little doji acting as the base, and then the rally upwards, taking out previous supply over here. And as we can see, as price revisits that region, as soon as it tapped that daily zone, what did we get? We had got a nice sell to buy manipulation reaction style of movement. So then moving down into lower time frames, look at the 8 hour, we can see a nice sell to buy region over there, and on the 4 hour we can start to see the imbalanced regions, you know, the key areas we want to really look into. So it's going to be we're going to have a look into this region here most definitely. I think this doji candle in here acting as the base, you know, it's that last sell to buy before this major buying power came in over here. These are obviously all invalidated now. Let's clean up the chart over here as well, seeing as that's all old. But yeah, definitely want to be seeing how price can react in here for US30. That'll be really interesting to see. And definitely if we can see price moving away from here, then you know, most definitely we'll be looking to play buys in those sort of scenarios in that region there. On the other hand, if we're looking at selling, then the recent you know, reactions and movements of this, we've got that drop, base, drop that takes out previous demand. We can see it took out this previous demand over here and all these demand areas over here that push price here. So we can see price came into that, reacted, gave a really good strong movement to the downside. And again, looking into that, if we can look to play maybe potentially off that 30-minute zone in here, that could be useful sell scenarios in there. Of course, price is quite far away, so I want to treat this as another point of interest just to be on the safe side. So definitely we're going to be marking that up on the 30-minute time frame right in there. If we can see price retracing into there and then potentially selling off, seeing distribution within there. We did have a nice area of liquidity also within this region, so you can see the equal highs, the rough equal highs in that region on that black line, and we had this candle doing the buy to sell manipulation, taking out liquidity and then seeing a sharp move in the opposite direction. Really nice reaction away from this previous supply as well. So it makes sense for us to maybe look at sell positions in this region up here for US30 if price can retrace that high. But yeah, apart from that, if that is the case, then, you know, if we look back at the weekly, if we do get that sell-off in price, you know, maybe it can trade deeper into this weekly demand zone that we've got marked up over here. So if it does do that, then see the main bullishness come in, then that will be you know, could be another scenario that we look at. But yeah, I think that will conclude our market outlook for this week. So there we have that full breakdown of the pairs and the indices that I'm looking at for this week. Now again, I'll say it again, if you're someone that wants to benefit from these sorts of calls along with live trading calls before they're actually released on YouTube, then please do drop me a message on my Instagram saying mentorship and we'll discuss things further. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video and found value, then please do give it a like and don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video for more of that trading source.